Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Preeti, and in this tutorial today we will see what is a static keyword, what are the advantages of static, what are the disadvantages of static, and what is a static variable. So we will have two parts for static keyword. In second part I will explain what is a static method, static block, and static nested class. Because this topic is too lengthy, so I have decided to go with the two parts. So let's get started. So static keyword in Java is mainly used for memory management. We can create shared resources using static keyword. So what is mean by shared resources? You can share those resources between multiple objects. Okay, you can have a single entity and you can use that single entity for multiple objects. So we can declare static variable, static method, as well as we can write a static block and static class. We can mark them as using a static keyword. We just need to write a static keyword before our method name or before our variable while we are declaring it. So now we'll see what are the advantages of a static. First one is memory efficiency. As we are using a single copy for whole class, we don't need that particular memory multiple times. So what happens when you are with the instance variables or normal non-static methods? You will get multiple you will get memory multiple times. Like for every object you will have a different memory. So if you have one method, non-static method, which you have created, so whenever you create an object of your class, that method or that variable will get memory in the stack. But in case of static variables or static resources, you will not get multiple memory multiple times. It doesn't matter how many objects you have, you will have a single like you will have a single variable or single method. You don't have copies of that. Then there is a global access. You can access static methods or static variables or static resources globally. Then there is a object independence. So static resources doesn't depend on object, like your instance variables or non-static methods. They will get memory after you create an object of your class. But in case of static, it doesn't matter if you have an object, like if you have created object or not, you will get access to your static resources. Then the performance, the last thing, but it is really important. The reason behind it is that, as I have mentioned before, that static resources doesn't depend on object creation. So whenever you need to call them or whenever you want to use them, there is no need to create an object. Then there will be, like, after creating object you will get memory and then you can call them. No, it's not like that. You can directly call them. So it will help you with the memory management, and also it will reduce the time time of execution. So this is how static will improve the performance of your code. Then we have a disadvantage. So static methods can't be used for abstraction or inheritance. So these, like, inheritance is a topic from object-oriented programming. So I hope you guys know, and if you don't know, then I will explain you what is inheritance in my further videos. So in short, inheritance is reusing a code. So for example, you have one you have one parent class and you are inheriting the properties of your parent class in a child class or in a subclass. So this is what we called as a inheritance. So we will have one method in parent class and then we will override that method, or we will reuse that method in a child class. So the reason behind it is that the static methods belongs to the class and not to the object. Therefore, you can't achieve polymorphism with the static. So you cannot achieve inheritance, polymorphism, or any abstraction with the static keyword. Then we have a static variables. So what is the static variable? Static variables belongs to the class and not to the object, and we can share them between multiple objects. This is a simple way to declare any variable as a static. You just need to write a static, then you will have a data type and then variable name, and finally you can assign the value to that. The difference between instance variable and a static variable is that there is only one copy of a static variable for entire class. Okay, so what I will do is I will quickly okay, so here suppose it's suppose this is a class. Okay, so I will mark it as a class sample. Okay, then you have two uh variables. First one is static and the second one is a non-static. So this is static variable is equal to 10, suppose. Okay, and then this is non-static variable. This is also 10. Okay, so this is your class, and so when your class gets loaded, what JVM will do is JVM will look for static variables or static resources. Okay, so if you have a static method, if you have a static variable, it will check if you are having static block or static nested class. So whatever you have, what it will do, it will store that static resources on the heap section. Yeah. So what it will do, it will store your static variables, static methods on the heap section. So what I have here, I have one static variable. So what JVM will do? JVM will store your static resources, that is static variable, on heap section. So this is our heap. Okay, fine. So, okay, we are done with this. So now what about the non-static variables? Non-static variable or non-static methods will get memory after you create an object of your class. So you have a class sample. Now you have decided to create one object. So your object will get stored on the heap, but the variables and method will get stored on your stack section. So you have object 1. Okay, so you have created one object. So what it will do is, it will obj. So here, your object gets stored on a heap section. And now, your variable, this is non-static variable, okay? So this get stored on a stack section, stack frame. So this is a stack, and we will get memory here. So this is non-static variable is equal to 10. Okay, so this object will have one static variable and one non-static variable. So after that, you want to create one more object. Okay, so you have decided to declare one more object, which is obj2. Okay, this is object 1 and this is object 2. So your object 2 will also get stored on a heap section, and as soon as you create the object, your non-static variables and non-static methods will get stored on a stack section. So here you will have one more non-static variable is equal to 10. Okay, so what you can see is you have a single copy of static variable, whereas you have a multiple copies of non-static variable. So suppose you are incrementing your static and non-static variable. So for object 1, you are incrementing static variable by 1, then it will return, static variable will return, first time it will return 11. I will write it here. So for static variable, first it will return 11, then non-static for first object, it will also return 11. But as soon as you get second object, you increment it for second object, so this value will get changed by 11. So what it will do is it will increment 11 by 1. So the static one will return 11. Sorry, it will return 12. But in case of non-static variables, for object 2, you have one another variable. Like you have a copy of non-static. So what it will do, it will not increment this 11. You have this value as 11. But what object 2 is pointing to this non-static variable. So what it will do, it will increment 10 by 1. So it will return you 11. I hope you guys understood whatever I have explained. So now we will perform it. So what I have done, what we need to do is, we will define one static integer, that is static variable. It's equal to 10. And we have one you don't need to write the public. We can simply write it as a int non-static is equal to 10. Right? So what I will do is, I will simply create one constructor, default constructor with the values. Okay, so public sample default constructor with default values. So what I will do is static variable plus. So this is increment operator, which will increment your value by 1. It will add 1 in your value. I will simply print it. That is, we will write static variable space and then assout. This is width. I will static variable, I will increment it here once, non-static variable plus. Okay, so now what we have to do is, we have to create two objects. So what I will do, sample, how we create an object, sample hobbies, sample object is equal to new sample. Okay, so we will create one more object of sample, which we will call object is equal for object sample is equal to new sample. Okay. So we are done with the declaration, and what we have done is we have simply created one static variable, one non-static variable, and then inside our constructor, what we have done is we have simply incremented our static and non-static variables, and then we have printed them. And in main, we have created two objects of our sample class, and that's it. We have done nothing else. So what I will do is I will simply compile the code. Great. It is running fine. Sorry, it is compiled. Now we will check for the So what it has done is it have printed us hello world, which is the first line of our program inside a main block. Then we have created one object for the static variable. It have printed 11 because this value get incremented by 10 plus 1. 10 plus 1 is equal to 11, right? So it got replaced. This value has been the value of this static variable changed to the 11. Okay, so it gets stored for the static variable in the heap section. Okay, fine, done. Then for non-static variable, it have printed us 11. Okay, so great. So this value reflected in a stack frame where here. So this one get replaced. This is got 11. So this So what here happened? What happened here is here it got replaced as a 11. To this this object is pointing to this variable. Okay, so this object is pointing to this variable. So this is not changed. So that is why it have printed second time also 11 for the non-static variable, but for a static variable it got changed here. Okay, so this is the difference between static and non-static variable. This remains 10, but this one has changed. So if you print if you increment non-static here one time now, then this will give you 11, 12, and this will also give you a 11, 12. So that is the difference between your static and the non-static variables. Okay, so I hope you guys understood the difference between static and non-static variables. If you have any doubt, please let me know in the comment section. The remaining part I will cover in our next part. Like remaining things, static method, static block, and a static nested class, I will cover it in a next section, next part. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you like the video, please hit a like button, and if you have any doubts, please let me know in the comment section so that I can help you guys. Subscribe to my channel and share it with your friends. Thank you so much for watching. Keep learning, keep growing.